Hello and welcome everybody to today's after church tea time on the topic, the path of love versus the path of ego. My name is Carmen. I'm your today's host and I'm here with Rachel and Valentina. Welcome ladies. It's very nice to have you here. I'm going to introduce first of all my drink of choice. It's again in my special cup of tea. It says just married, and I'm drinking a chai latte. What are you having for today?
Well, I've got my normal tea, Fiji tips with the chimp advertising. I have green tea in the mornings though. I have a jasmine loose leaf green tea, and funnily enough, I got some jasmine incense to burn during my YouTube videos, and it was out, and I was thinking, why can I smell my tea? And I had I bought some jasmine essential oil to put into my homemade face cream, and that was a bad idea. It just smelled like my cups of tea the whole time. So I've got a nice balance with green tea and normal tea.
I don't have any specialty. I just drink water all day, so no big surprise there. Recently I did try a tea, but I thought I should start drinking tea again. It was like roses, dried rose petals. And it sounds good and it looks good, but then I had it and it just tasted like dead flowers and warm water. So I was like, okay, I'm not into that. So yeah, I told Madhu, no, not again, but thank you. So that's my experience with tea recently.
Cool. I mean, it's a journey of trying and tasting stuff and figuring out who we are, what we like and what we don't like. And I also randomly heard somehow that your taste changes every 7 years. I'm not sure if that is really correct, especially on this journey when you change so much and so fast, if that is the case, but I definitely see some changes in my taste. But anyway, starting with our discussion now. Yeah, let's start with my biggest insight so far from it. I feel this was a really beautiful and grounding and peaceful sermon, and really motivating to go deeper with the teachings every time, because I feel there is always much more to invest into and to go deeper with and to see. And I also started watching Toronto talks again today, which was also I didn't even click on play yet, but I could already feel the peace coming in and receiving it fully and feeling so nourished by it. It's wonderful. And also this sermon was about, I think my biggest takeaway in a nutshell was definitely like this journey. The purpose of this journey is that you can walk with God every day a little more, you know? You go deeper with God every day a little more, and you get the opportunity to be with God every day a little more. And this is really humbling and at the same time so motivating to go deeper. And I feel that God should be our main focus. We should be our main focus as we are one with God. And then everything else is unfolding with that. But yeah, what you got?
Yeah, well, it was a very gentle, peaceful, very gentle sermon. That's Soraya's style. She's fabulous. Yeah, she talked about the ego a lot. It's like dangling a carrot in front of you. But the truth is, the ego's carrot always turns out to be a stick. It promises you a reward, but it just gives you more of the same every time. And if we keep following the ego, keep trying to get stuff from the outside, trying to do things without God, then we become like travelers in the desert that exhaust themselves running after mirages. The illusion, putting power into the illusion. And it's a journey of taking our power back from the illusion of separation from God, from the twin flame. And that can take a while. I mean, you can be in the work for some considerable time, and then you find places where you're still giving your power away. But that's okay. I think, Shaleia touched on how it was some time for her before she really went properly deep into the teachings. And that's the case for a lot of people. And so don't be hard on yourself. It's perfectly okay. So everybody's got areas of resistance that it takes varying amounts of time to release. You're doing it at the most perfect, most compassionate pace for you. It's not a race. Don't let the ego get to you, because the ego will say, you're supposed to be further on than you are. You should be doing better. You should be doing more. No, none of that's true. It shouldn't be tiring. It shouldn't be draining. If it's draining, it's not God. It's supposed to be a very easy, compassionate, and beautiful journey, an enjoyable journey.
Yeah, I received a lot from the sermon too, and it's very true what Shaleia said. Like, ego could be sneaky, and we don't realize it's playing itself out. And it knows us and knows how to get into our mind. So it's important just to listen to the voice of God, the quiet voice, rather than the loud bleeding voice. And yeah, I really loved what Shaleia said about like this imagery of have our eyes closed and God is already around us, but that we can't like experience God, and we're just learning to piece by piece see again. And I just found it really captivating the way she described like all the light around us and being able to experience the light again. So yeah, that really moved me. And I felt like I could receive this sermon a lot more than usual, because I just came back from Jeff's class, and it's like our guru just shows us where we have love inside already, and then we're able to experience that love externally too. And I just felt like I could be more present with the sermon more than I ever have before, like watching any Sunday service. And I just felt like a deeper peace than I've ever experienced watching the sermon. So it was, I could just feel it all. It was really good. It felt really good.
Yeah, that's wonderful. One thing that also stood out as you both shared is like this imagery with the light, that you are, every time you're healing and going deeper with God, you open your eyes more and you not get blinded by the light anymore. Then you suddenly see shapes and maybe people and so on and so forth. And I think this is really compassionate, and this really also shows that the journey is a journey and it's worth enjoying the journey. I think there's also the saying that like not the destiny is, the destination is not the goal, but the journey is. And this is it, you know, this is something for all eternity. And it's compassionate that we are not awakening all at once to everything, because we would be blown away by it and maybe even kind of like get blind. I think there was also a passage in the book of Loss of the Spirit World, what Jeff and Shaleia recommended us to read once, is that people from higher realms even have to wear protection, or I think when even people from lower realms have to wear some sort of kind of like protection or cloak or something to visit people on the upper realms, because it would be too, you know, too overwhelming, would be so too bright or something, right? And this is for us too. And yeah, it's not a race. We don't have to force anything. And I think when we really just relax into the peace of the now, we are more than we are on the best way forward. And there is no faster way than the way that God has for us. And when we just surrender to that, surrender control, what they also mentioned, like we don't have to control, we don't have to force ourselves to see the next upset and to, you know, dig deep into it. We just live our life, enjoy it as much as we can. And we don't, whenever we don't feel like we can enjoy the moment, or there's something that is distracting you, it's safe to look at it and to also, you know, that's another thing, to accept how we feel. Sometimes there will be phases where you really feel like, my God, it feels like I'm moving through mud. It feels like I'm moving through a, what's that called? Where you can get sucked into the ground, like this.
Quicksand.
Ah, thank you. Yeah, that's exactly when you feel like you're moving through quicksand, right? Sometimes it feels like this, but this is when you kind of like control and not accept how you feel right now. Sometimes you even feel feelings that you're not, can't pinpoint what is that feeling exactly. But when you just accept that this is how it is right now, accept that you have peace within you right now, you can choose peace right now and move through it with peace. You never have to leave your peace. You will find yourself moving through it much quicker. And this is releasing control on the journey, and not, you will never see how far you've come by looking on the outside. And this is also something that just stuck with me from Toronto Talks now. It's like, when you use only your eyes to see whether you're making progress on your journey, you're seeing with the wrong organ, let's say it like this. It's your heart, it's how you feel, and am I moving through the upset right now? And this is all you have to, you know, concern yourself with. And in all the other moments, we are just with God and choosing peace in every moment. And peace never gets boring, because we always will experience deeper peace, a different flavor of peace, a different scent of peace. And oh, that's really juicy.
Yeah, you have touched on so many points, and if we expand on any one of those, yeah, the wading through mud. Yeah, I remember Jeff talking about that in a class. And you're in this river of mud and you want to be frolicking in the field, but just think how strong your leg muscles are going to be from wading through the mud when you finally do get to frolic. I think my kung fu teacher had a similar analogy. He said it was like swimming through a swimming pool of poo. And it can feel like that. This week I've been healing through some really heavy foundational stuff, and it's repetitive, and parts of the journey can be. And so when I actually got a regular twin flame type upset, it was like, oh, what a relief. But no, the work has to be done. And yeah, you've got to accept where you're at. And that can be easier said than done at the beginning. But it's like a computer game. You were talking about the light being too much, your eyes aren't used to it. I mean, with a computer game, you can't go straight to level 9. You have to go through all the levels, and then you complete one level and you start at the bottom of the next level, and everything looks on the outside like it's getting worse, because that's just the bottom of the new level. And so you move through that one as well, and so on and so forth. And it's true that we can't take all of God immediately. It has to be a gradual process. Last time I spoke to Jeff in one of the live classes, he said, "What are you afraid of?" And at the time, it was like all this love coming in. It seemed like too much. And he said, "Well, it's a river, and if you get into the middle of it and try and drink the whole lot, it's going to make you sick. Just have a little cup. Allow it to steadily increase. Let the steady stream of love take you to where you want to go." And it has been steadily increasing, and I'm very pleased about that.
Yeah, it's making more and more sense to me, like thinking about love and our experience with love and growing in it. And the analogy that just came into my mind, the way I see this experience is, it's like, imagine a light bulb. It's designed to hold, like, say 40 watts. And then if you try and use 50 watts in it, it's going to explode basically. It's too much light at once. So I see that with ourselves, like, and as I do my own healing work, it's like I can feel more light entering me, and I can, like, I visually see it on myself and other people, like this light surrounding them, and it just grows and grows as we all do our inner work and we keep healing. And yeah, that's just how I feel about the light situation. It's just always growing.
You know, there is another part I want to discuss with you about from the sermon is where it was about, like, kind of like loving the shadow parts of us that are being hard on, when we are hard on ourselves, when we try to force ourselves to do work, and when we are releasing. I think we all were and are moving through this, where we feel like letting go of the old way of working. Like, the world teaches us to bargain, right? You have to bargain everything now, your free time, your energy and everything, to do a job, to work your ass off, and later you can retire. But now you have this huge success and you could buy everything. But that is false. This is, like, again, this dangly carrot sticky thingy, right? And this is what we are releasing, because this is not the way. We are not here. We are not in this retirement energy. This is not what we are here for. And I found that one thing that is very helpful to love this shadow parts, right? When we mirror that with the mirror exercise, we have kind of like, sometimes we are asked to love two parts of us in the mirror exercise, like the one who feels victimized by it, like, oh my God, I feel like, let's take the slavery energy, like we feel like a slave. I feel like I'm being a slave and kind of like a little victim-y here. It's sometimes, in my experience, it was easier to love this part of myself, because I almost felt it was easier for me to have compassion for this part of myself, because I felt really hurt. It was really, really obvious. And on the other hand, there's also this part, the cycle of abuse, that we are doing stuff to ourselves, the part that is kind of like enslaving me. And it was really hard for me to love these parts of myself that are doing this to me. But I realized that, you know, everything that we do is out of love, even though it doesn't look like it right now. And also this part of me that was kind of like enslaving me to get things done. This is like something that a part of me was looking forward to, like, we have to have this done. But why? What's the purpose of getting this done? Yeah, to have an achievement, to have this good feeling. And it comes down to this one part of, it's still about love. But this part that was enslaving me was had a misbelief in love, like, this enslaving you is not love. But when I realized, like, oh, I approached this part of myself that was crying for love and was resisting it at first, when I realized, okay, all that this part wanted to do is to love me, to have success for me, to see me actually thriving, but doing it in a different way. I just have to go to this part, love it, and teach it a different part. The teachings of union, that you can do it with God, and that there is no way to take from yourself, to bargain, not at all. God would never ask that of yourself. And also making the core choice of loving myself unconditionally in every part and having patience with myself. Like, this really helps me helped and helps me still loving these shadow parts of myself where I'm doing shit to myself. Where I was doing shit to myself. But yeah, really, this was when I was listening to the sermon and just taking it in, it really like clicked deeper again, like how important that is to see that everything that we do is still out of love. Even if it doesn't look like it yet, but at the core, still our mission was to love. But we never learned how that looks like, how that looked like or something, right? But with the teachings of union, we have all the tools that we need, and we can finally see what true love is.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you reminded me about the importance of loving the part of yourself that's beating yourself up as well. If anything, that part needs the love even more than the part that's getting beaten up. And so I'm definitely going to be incorporating that more into my healing in due course. Yeah, but everything, as you said, it's a call for love. The parts of you that are crying out so loudly for this love. I mean, there's other strategies you can adopt to address it, other healing modalities. But mirror exercise is the most effective because it involves diving straight into the middle of the most uncomfortable feeling and being present with it until it dissolves. And sometimes just your loving presence is enough. And if it feels like the bad feeling's not dissolving, just persistence. Sit with it a few minutes longer. And sometimes that's all it needs. You are worth taking the time to love really thoroughly. And that's how the way you love yourself is how your twin flame's going to love you. You don't want them to rush in and rush out. You want them to be really thorough and make lots of time for you. So make lots of time for yourself.
All this talk of love, it reminds me of that Beatles song, All You Need Is Love. I used to listen to that and I used to think it was so silly. But now, like, applying the teachings of union and getting into this work, and like, wow, that song really speaks the truth. It makes sense. We do just need love. We just need to love ourselves. And yeah, speaking about Surya's sermon, like, I can relate to what she was saying. Like, you know, when we're maybe like ego's trying to trick us, I've had those experiences even recently. It comes in cycles, and yeah, it's important to kind of look out for that and be very perceptive. And I just want to share what I kind of went through recently. Like basically, what I was doing, I was going to the gym and working out on the treadmill, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this amount of working out in the gym every day. Then over the weekend, I had like lots of chocolate, and then the voice of ego was like, okay, now you need to do even more workouts in the gym to be able to burn that off. And I was like, okay, yes. And then I start to go on the treadmill, start working out, and then I do the amount that feels comfortable for me and just a little bit more. And I was like, nah, it's not going to trick me this time. And I just decided to stick with the plan I had. But it can be quite sneaky that way, you know, like another experience I had was with when I was like, I've been like doing more work, being more like productive, and I had a lot of things to do, and you know, the voice of God was telling me to take a break in the middle of the day, take a little nap, or just chill, take a break from working. And the sneaky voice was like saying, no, you can get to rest once you finish all of your work. And I was like, did it for a day, didn't feel good. And then the next day I was like, okay, that's not the voice of God. And then I chose to rest, like in between working. I felt a lot better. And then when I got up to like continue my tasks, I just felt like I could give more to them and I wasn't drained. So yeah, it can be kind of sneaky sometimes, but it's important for us to kind of like recognize you know, the voice of God and the voice of ego. And sometimes we don't always. It's good not to be hard on ourselves, but yeah, it's just something we need to feel into and like recognize our thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. Ego seems to be very logical and it really kind of like makes sense. But when you, as you said, when you really feel into it, it doesn't make sense from the voice of love. And this is what we should always trust in, even though it sometimes looks like not like the right thing to do, right? Or like something you would normally not do. I also just recently learned this thing with, just came up today. I was thinking like, wow, I'm really releasing the way of, I think there's this German saying where you say like, it's not a saying, but yeah, whatever, something you say. And it's like, let me think about it. What is it? Yeah, first comes the work, then like the happiness or something, then you can enjoy things. I was just thinking today about that, like, wow, that is really toxic. And despite the fact that work and like enjoying work are not separate from each other, especially when you do it with God, despite this fact, it's again this thing like when you have your work done, you can relax, and this is not cool. This is really, wow, it keeps you draining. This is like the energy of burning out. It's the basic formula to burn out fast. And I've also learned that recently, like even though it doesn't make sense for me to now take a break from work because I can, I just did, because I was also asking God, like, please give me a sign, please talk to me. What is the right thing to do for me? I could burn the extra, the midnight oil, but it's not worth it. And I don't see the purpose for it. And so God was asking me to rest, and I definitely feel more energized now, and I feel like even more motivated to give more. And this is something that that Shaleia also touched upon in the sermon today, is that giving is receiving and receiving is giving, and it's the same basically. And I also love that when you make the choice to receive love or to give love, or just the choice to love, you receive love and then you can give love, and it's this eternal cycle of going deeper. And now, Rachel, I love that you shared this with the cup, that you just, you know, drink every day. You know, you maybe start with 1 cup, tomorrow you can drink 2 cups, maybe the other day you can only again drink only 2 cups, but it's a little more. And then you know, it's your journey. You can't measure it like this, but it definitely goes deeper and gets better. And even if it looks like you're still healing the same upset and upset after upset, layer after layer, and it still looks the same, it's still like you feel like you did the mirror exercise on this specific one a million times. It's like there is this picture or this meme where you see kind of like a house or a tower where you feel like you're just spinning in circles when you heal this layer for the millions and trillions of times, but you're actually going deeper to the core. Then you just changed your perspective and see the bigger picture, that you're always going deeper. And it definitely, when you're honest with yourself, it feels different every time that you go deeper. And we just have to trust that, and that this is the way forward, and it's safe to relax into the process. And I also, one thing I learned is like in MAP and health and wellness, there's many things I learned, but this is like really specific, this thing when you want something in your reality. Like, for example, of course, I want my twin flame. I want to be a full-time actress, and I want to have the perfect body. So let's take this as an example now, because it's kind of like easy to explain. It's like whenever I look into the mirror, I don't see the perfect body yet, but that is the lie. It is perfect how it is right now. And I assume daily the feeling, this is of Dreams Coming True e-course, very juicy one. This lesson is that I assume this feeling of my perfect body, how it feels, how I would move with this perfect body, and what I can implement right now in my reality to, amplify this feeling. And wow, this leads me to the next thing from the sermon as well, is that you don't have to push away negative feelings about it. Of course, when I feel bad about my body, I move through it. I choose to love myself here. I choose to love myself unconditionally and accept myself where I'm at right now, and don't make myself blind and just see myself how I want to be seen. But I know I'm moving towards it, and I know I'm assuming this feeling, I'm feeling it, and I'm moving towards it. And I know that this is the best, fastest track ever, and I can't control my way there. But with God, it's the best way. And I've never felt better in my body than I'm now feeling the best in my body than I ever felt. Even though maybe from an outside perspective, from what people would perceive me, it doesn't make sense at all. But for me, it perfectly does. I had so many upsets with my body. There's still more to go deeper with, but it's just amazing that I finally can heal this within myself, because I suffered so much with this, and I'm really willing to to end this suffering in this space and just bring peace here and perfection. And seeing that my body is still very divine, because when you just think of what all the cells in your body do for you, it's amazing. There are processes in your body that you're like, how the fuck is this even working? This is doing it's all on its own. It's an organism on its own. This is divine. And so are we.
Yeah, it's important to remember that you don't have to change anything or improve anything to be with your twin flame. They love you just as you are now. You're already the perfect person for them. But also, going back to Carmen's point about working through the layers, and it comes up again and again, and it's different each time. Well, it can also look pretty similar when you're going through layers, and it can feel like it's the same upset and you're not healing it, but you are. You just got to keep going, and that's why it can feel a little bit repetitive. Yeah, but we were talking in Friday Live about attractiveness to your twin flame. You talked about body positivity. Yeah, it's very important to remember that you don't have to do anything to be enough for your person, because if you're thinking that you're not enough when you're doing this thing on the outside, you're just gonna get more of the feeling of not enough. So it's the negative feelings about it that you want to heal, rather than trying to change something on the outside. Once again, like I said at the beginning, it's like running after mirages or chasing an illusion. You resolve it all within yourself, whatever the problem is. There's an issue with your twin flame, you don't have to talk it out with them. You heal it within yourself, and either you manifest an opportunity to communicate it on the outside, or it will resolve itself completely. But everything that you're moving through is completely healable, and you don't have to do anything different or go anywhere to heal it. You can heal it right where you are at home right now. What am I going to say next? Yeah, it's just loving yourself. That's all you need to do. You don't have to obtain more money. It's no amount of beauty, fitness, status, money is going to make any difference to your twin flame. It's just healing the pattern within. As like Shaleia talked to them a lot about patterns in the sermon. If the situation isn't how you'd like, there might be a pattern playing out. So you just keep working through the layers until it's gone completely. And you know when the pattern's completely healed, because you can feel that it is. Oh, and that was the point. Yeah, and you don't have to dig for the upsets. You don't have to try and heal everything at once. If you do, then that's an upset in its own right that needs healing. All you have to do is move through whatever it is that's in front of you, even if it's a really mundane, apparent everyday thing, even if it's a little bit boring. All these little niggling everyday things, they're all steps to your heaven on earth.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know, recently I was thinking, wow, I'm not upset about anything. What's going on? And I thought, is there something up it? Is there something that I'm missing? And then I realized, well, if you're not upset, you're not upset, and you don't have to look for any upsets. It's cool to be not upset, that's fine. And yeah, but then when something does arise, it's clear. That's what happened to me. I was like, is there something I'm missing here? Calm seas, everything's fine. Plain sailing. And then I was like, okay. But then a few days later, an upset arose. It's like, okay, this is an upset here. I just need to remind myself how it feels to be upset and how it feels to be just normal and everything's all clear. So yeah, it's important not to like look for upsets or think, oh, I need to like heal everything at once. Because we're all aware of our blocks, we're all aware of patterns within us that we're working on. And just because, we haven't, completed the healing, like we're going to be complete at perfect union anyway. And just because we haven't completed it yet doesn't mean that we have to go searching or that there's a lot of work to do at once. We just heal as it arises. And that's something I learned. And I also learned, like, sometimes like I've got like an upset, like a spiritual upset, and then other times it's kind of like I'm just feeling kind of irritable and I don't actually have a spiritual upset. And then it's kind of like realizing, okay, maybe it's okay, like you just choose peace at this point. Maybe it's all right. You don't have to actually search for an upset and heal it. It's just one of those things. You just choose to not get into an upset state. So I learned that recently, like not everything has to be mirrored. Sometimes it's just observing and then realizing when we're genuinely needing it to mirror, or when we can just make a new choice and move forward.
Yeah, it's true. There is no forcing to go deeper as well when you're not ready. I think I also had some time where I was really for a few weeks, still feeling my feelings and all, sitting down and having this in my daily practice to just be present with my feelings. But I was also a little concerned, like, what's going on? Is there something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? But no, that's not it. Sometimes we also have to forget where we came from and what we just healed through maybe. And sometimes the integration process takes a lot more time. And healing, part of the healing is also enjoying our healed state when we are in peace, and when we expand in our peace, when we expand in our joy and really ground into it and allow ourselves to really feel that and really express that, then we are only able to go deeper here. Otherwise it's again like this burnout energy, right? We are trying to look for the next thing to go deeper, and that's not healthy. And this would make life really not enjoyable. And I think I started like this, my spiritual journey, where I was like sitting down every day, several hours. I was living in my cave at home and just healing, because there were so many upsets as well. I was also digging for them, but yeah, I was not compassionate. And I'm glad that God really taught me this lesson to go out and enjoy life and to see that I'm human. I'm made as a human. I have hobbies, I have passions, I have desires, and they're meant to be lived. And only then we are able to go deeper.
Yes, I agree. You are allowed to take breaks. You're allowed to have a little bit of respite. Often, if you've healed something, you get a few days where it doesn't seem to be very much there to mirror. And yeah, as you quite rightly said, yeah, you're allowed to enjoy them. Do not deny yourself the celebration. If you've had a breakthrough or reached a new place emotionally, it's just as important to enjoy all of that, because very often during these times, it's like you're on the inside, you're gathering up your resources to go to the next level on that computer game, to go deeper. And then when the upset arises, okay, you're ready for it. You can rise to it and move through it swiftly and efficiently, effectively. You get better and better at moving through everything. Sometimes, and also, as you said, sometimes all that needs to be done is for you to feel that feeling through. Sometimes with a really deep, entrenched, long-standing patterns, that's all you can do, and that's all that's needed. Like persistence will dissolve anything.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I actually start to feel complete. How about you? Yeah, amazing. There's one more thing I wanted to share with y'all is that Jeff and Shaleia have this IRL video about what's it called? Twin flame ego, I guess, or ego twin flame. No, I think it's twin flame ego. And I found this video it just came to me through the sermon, like, wow, I think this video is super powerful for everyone who's still struggling with ego. Is ego real? What is ego? And some people still like identify themselves with an ego, but in this video specifically, they say you don't have an ego. And when you allow yourself to really trust that and believe in that you don't have an ego, which is when you wanted to have a mantra to it, an affirmation is like, I am divine from the Sedona workshop, then you will have quicker everything that you desire. You will see that you arrived there already and that you are divine. And with that, your journey will become easier. Yeah, so thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this after church tea time. Please like and subscribe when you are on YouTube. And we will see you in another sermon and after church tea time. Thank you all so much.